It looked like the push that was heard around the world has cost WNBA player Kennedy Carter her career.
Kennedy Carter's career took a shocking turn on live television. Once a rising WNBA star, she became a league outcast in an instant. All because of one shove on Caitlin Clark. But the story goes deeper than just that moment. Carter's history of on-court tensions and clashes with teammates had already put her on shaky ground. Now she finds herself without a team, leaving fans wondering if this is the end of her WNBA journey.
People be so surprised. Oh my God, Kennedy Carter deserved a play. Why? Like, did y'all forget all of the events that transpired last year with her and Caitlin Clark? And then she refused to own up to what she did? What organization wanted to do?
Imagine being so talented yet so toxic that 4 teams took a look at you and said, thanks but no thanks. Some may argue it was just a shove, but the Chicago Sky saw it differently. They chose not to offer Kennedy Carter a long-term contract or a core designation. Now she's out, gone from the league. Just think about it. Losing your career over one reckless moment.
Oh, remember what happened on that fateful day last year, bro, when she took it upon herself to put her filthy thug hands on WNBA player Caitlin Clark. I knew then her future was not going to be very bright.
The Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever were back at it, their rivalry as intense as ever, with the entire arena holding its breath. But the night took a shocking turn, as Kennedy Carter went from rising star to radioactive in record time. With every play, her frustration grew, visible in her eyes, until she finally snapped. In a stunning moment, Carter shoved Caitlin Clark so hard that the arena fell silent, as if someone had hit the mute button. Meanwhile, Clark was on fire, taking hit after hit, yet refusing to back down.
What just transpired between Carter and Clark? I mean, that's clearly...
At this point, things got even crazier. Caitlin Clark just stood there, looking completely baffled, as if trying to process what had just happened. The referees, frozen in shock, couldn't believe it either. But this wasn't just any push. Kennedy Carter had just thrown her entire career off a cliff, and trust me, what happened next made things even worse. One witness described Clark's expression as pure disbelief, as if she couldn't fathom what had just unfolded before her eyes.
Signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and, you know, the rest of the folks. And then we get to the body check. This was originally ruled an away from the ball foul, but it was obviously a flagrant foul. It really upset a lot of people, which really escalated the issue. And it was really just poor sportsmanship on Kennedy.
The players on the court stood frozen, and the audience sat in stunned silence, their faces filled with disbelief, as if they had just seen a ghost. Meanwhile, Kennedy Carter's rage was erupting for all to see. Then came the comment that sent shockwaves through the arena. A scout in attendance reportedly said, "I've never seen anything like it." But think about it. Could a seasoned scout after years of watching basketball really say that? That's how surreal this moment was.
That right there, I believe, was the push that altered her career. And I'm telling you right now, it is not looking good for...
When reporters pressed her for answers, Kennedy Carter shut them down with a blunt response. "I'm not answering any Clark questions." Talk about adding fuel to the fire. But wait, it gets even stranger. After this entire fiasco, Carter did absolutely nothing. No apology, no explanation, just complete silence. It was as if she had no regrets, leaving fans and analysts baffled at her response, or lack thereof.
Carter, then, what's crazy about all of this, immediately after that push, this is what she said to the media.
And on the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the fever.
I actually no questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
Now that the WNBA officials have weighed in, it's clear they're not playing around. They ruled Carter's shove a flagrant foul, calling it both unnecessary and reckless. After just one look at the play, their decision was swift. But think about it. Imagine being in a league where a simple push is labeled unnecessary and reckless. This isn't tackle football after all. Yet this one moment was enough to change everything for Carter.
People was kind of surprised by this. I'm not, because I know, you know what I'm saying? What she did to Caitlin Clark was completely unnecessary. And I'm here to tell you guys, she's living with that decision today because she is without a.
Here's the real kicker. With one push and a bad attitude, Kennedy Carter went from a rising prospect to completely untouchable. Scouts and executives watching the game weren't just taking notes. They were mentally crossing her name off their list faster than you can say career suicide. In a league where talent isn't enough, Carter's actions spoke louder than her game, and the message wasn't good.
And Tyler Marsh did the press conference. He talked about Angel Reese. He talked about Cardoso, who I think is going to be a star in the WNBA. But he did not really mention Kennedy Carter at all, and that raised a lot of...
If you're wondering why this moment is so significant, let me break it down. It's about far more than just the push. Carter didn't just shove Caitlin Clark. She shoved against everything the WNBA is striving to become. A league built on professionalism, respect, and role models is finally getting the recognition it deserves. And yet, Carter threw all of that out the window in an instant. It wasn't just a reckless move, it was a statement. And not the kind that keeps you in the league.
One person said we still can't be doing this every year. Kennedy Carter is the reason WNBA won't take a risk on her.
You might be thinking Carter made a mistake, but surely some team will give her another chance. However, that couldn't be further from the truth. The Chicago Sky didn't just bench her. They cut ties completely. No core designation, no long-term contract, just a cold hard thanks for playing, now go. And here's the real shocker. They let their top scorer walk away for nothing. In the WNBA, teams don't just give up assets without getting something in return. But with Carter, they didn't even try. That alone speaks volumes.
She gets no offer to return from the Chicago Sky, which a lot of people have been feeling by her social media posts that she got quite offended by.
When her agent calls, GMs won't even pick up the phone. The silence is deafening. This is how a top athlete goes from highly sought after to completely untouchable, practically overnight. One reckless move, a bad reputation, and now Carter isn't just without a team, she's without a future in the league. The response from front offices is loud and clear, not worth the trouble.
And there has not been a peep about anywhere that she could be landing in this free agency. So a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, is she worth the risk now?
It takes more than just one push. Carter's past is far more troubling than it first appeared. She was a gifted athlete, a standout at Texas A&M, and a first-round pick for the Atlanta Dream. She had all the tools to build a legendary career, but instead of laying the foundation for success, she threw it all away. From clashes with teammates to attitude issues, this wasn't just one bad moment. It was a pattern. Let's take a closer look at how Carter went from a rising star to an outcast.
Come on, cheer for your teammates, be a part of this team, and then ensues an altercation between the two where Kennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, of which afterwards, after the game, this is what has been reported. I guess Kennedy Carter wanted to fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, no way. So there was no actual physical altercation that happened. Atlanta Dream did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture. So then the Atlanta Dream decided to trade her to the Sparks, the Los Angeles. She ended up playing a lot less minutes there. And the reasoning that the Sparks were saying that she was playing less minutes was because of poor conduct. And that was the 2022 season. Then in the 2023 season, the Sparks just decided to release her in the offseason. None of the teams were willing to pick her up after that. So she ends up going over to Turkey, playing in Turkey, of which she balled out. So then the W team started looking at her again and being like, maybe we should give this person another chance. So she was signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and, you know, the rest of the folks.